Opening week has come and gone, and we are back. It's Deferred Collusion. It's me, Jesse Rowe, King of Crespi, joined as always by Branden Bullinger, Lord Paramount of the South Bay in Los Angeles, California. The Dodgers lost yesterday, but they're looking damn good, and I gotta say, it's nice to have a right fielder that you love and a closer that you love. It makes the team feel a lot more safe and secure. We are back. Dodgers are in first place, but the Rockies, they're leading the division in scoring. Watch out for Colorado. What's up, Branden? How are you, buddy?
Jess, I'm good. But boy, is it great to be back with you. It has been an exciting, brand new baseball season, hasn't it? We're officially in. We're kicking the dust off. Seats are all shined up. Beers are flowing. Dogs are getting squished into buns. It's great. I was at opening day on Thursday. Saw Yama get the dub. Dude, it was exciting. It feels like anything is possible. But man, the more things change, the more things stay the same. The Dodgers are in first place. They're looking unstoppable. The bullpen looks nasty. Starters are going. Whew. The bats are starting to wake up. Paja's going deep. Mookie's going deep.
Yeah.
But you know what? We saw young Alex Freeland in his first at bat go deep. I mean, we haven't even seen the GOAT Shohei send one to the seats yet, nor our beloved Freddie Freeman. I guess what I'm saying, Jess, is there's a lot to look forward to in this young season, and I'm just amped about it, dude. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and I apologize to our listeners and viewers if there was any sort of audio issues to begin this, because I forgot to put my headphones in to start this episode. now we're good to go. Yeah, look. So just to start off, what you can expect from this episode, we'll be talking a little about the Dodgers bullpen. We'll be talking a little bit about Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz, the new Dodgers additions. We'll talk a little bit about Edwin Diaz's his walkout with Tatiana Tate performing Narco for his walkout and comparing that with Mason Miller's. And we'll also be talking about the ABS system, which really quick, my first reaction has been it's been pretty much a whopping success. It's been pretty awesome to start the season so far. And then later in the episode, we do have a special guest. We have Branden's friend and Dodgers commercial superstar Kourosh the Canadian Kaghazi doing an interview. He was in the Will Smith bobblehead commercials for his bobblehead night. He played the Canadian Mountie, for those of you who have seen those commercials. So he's going to be on at the end of the show. So if you want to watch that, go ahead and skip ahead to the timestamp, or just stick around and he'll be coming up later. But Branden, first, just your instant reaction here to Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz, the new guys, and the Dodgers sweeping the Diamondbacks, losing to the Guardians. But just your initial reaction and how they've done so far.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Kyle Tucker, I forgot what superstar caliber defense looks like in right field. It's been a while since we've got to see Mookie just dazzle out there in right field for all to see. And boy,
it's the first real right fielder we've had since Mookie. Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
yeah.
Getting the vapors over here. We've seen him rob a home run over the short wall, steal a double out in the gap. So his range is incredible. He's taller than I expected, a lengthier guy. I've been really impressed just how long the bat is in the strike zone. It seems like he's just covering so much of the plate. We've already seen him come up with a clutch double for an RBI, knocking Shohei in. And I think that's going to be a little bit of the game plan all season, right? Maybe Shohei gets pitched around and he gets on base. Tuck hits a double. Oh, yeah. It's 1-0. You know what I mean? I loved it. You could see the machinations, all the planning coming together a little bit. And then Diaz, talk about the security blanket of knowing who your closer is. I forgot what it was like. I mean, Jess, to take you back, I haven't had like a real ninth inning closing experience. We'll get into this a little bit longer, but since Kenley, right? Since we had California Love, Now we got Narcos, a little bit of a dilemma, or discussion.
It was controversial. It was a little controversial. Yeah,
controversial,
but
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But Jess, it was electric. I was just fired up, and I don't know. I think for an opening series at home, you sign a couple of big names, and you want to see them perform, and perform they did.
Yeah. To get back to Tucker, he hasn't even had like a great start offensively. He only in 4 games he has a 63 OPS plus, which is like well below league average. He's hitting 200. He's got a 561 OPS, but it feels like he's been way more impactful than that because he had the game-winning hit, the go-ahead hit in was it game 1 or game 2 against the Diamondbacks? I forget. And then he also had a big double in one of the games. And it just seems like he's always hitting the ball pretty hard. Like he has a great swing. I've compared him to John Olerud before in the way that he swings, like his body type, his long swing, how long, like you mentioned, how long his bat stays in the strike zone. He makes such good contact, and I just think you're going to see incredible monster numbers from this guy this year. And the defense is where I'm like, oh shit, like I know the offense is going to come. But like with what we saw at Teoscar Hernandez last year and worrying, is this guy going to cost us a World Series with the poor defense he was playing in right field? I feel the opposite. I am like, this is the most secure I've ever felt as a fan. And they might not win this year, but right now I'm looking at them and I'm like, the only way this team can lose is if they beat themselves because they are so complete. And Kyle Tucker is a huge reason why. And obviously there's controversy about him signing the contract, the amount of money the Dodgers spent, but you're seeing it in like a small sample as to like why he was worth it for the Dodgers specifically. Not necessarily like was he worth that money? He was worth that money to the Dodgers because they needed a true right fielder and a guy that just extends the lineup the way that he does. I mean, look at the way that this team has started. Shohei is hitting under 200, hasn't homered yet. Tucker's is hitting 200, hasn't homered yet. Freddie hasn't homered yet. Mookie's homered. He's looking like he's back, but he's only hitting 200. Andy Pages is leading the team in batting average right now, and they're 3-1. They're off to an exceptional start, and they came back from behind in all 3 games. They had a 2-0 deficit in all 3 games against the Diamondbacks, and they came from behind in all 3 of them, and that's because of the Edwin Diaz factor, of the threat of him in the bullpen, and just how it has extended, the way Tucker's extending the lineup, Diaz is extending the bullpen. You're seeing, like, other than Justin Robleski yesterday, and we're obviously recording this before Shohei pitches tonight for the Dodgers, so we don't know what's going to happen tonight, but other than Justin Robleski yesterday against the Guardians, nobody in the Dodgers bullpen has given up a run yet. Will Klein has not given up a run. Diaz has not given up a run. Tanner Scott has not given up a run. The Dodgers bullpen looks pretty sick right now, and just having Edwin Diaz back there is like the security blanket to close out games. Is like it's got to feel like a nightmare for teams if you have a lead all game and then you end up giving up a lead in the late innings and then you got to go up against this bullpen and potentially Edwin Diaz. This team, I'll say it, this is the last time I'll say it, they can only beat themselves at this point. And, if they don't win 100 games this year, it's just because of injuries or that they just didn't try to win 100 games. So they look amazing.
Yeah, they look incredible. I don't know that I'm ready to say that the only way they don't win a title is that if they beat themselves, but I do love the optimism. I've been
what
really
I mean
fired
is if
up.
they don't live up to their potential, they're just like, if they don't, like, I don't know, like, I guess if they don't perform well in the big moments is what I'm saying. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I completely agree. And to that point, I mean, we're talking about Kyle Tucker, right? And while we're saying that the numbers aren't eye-popping just yet, what we are talking about is RBIs, hits in the clutch. Hey, maybe you did go 1 for 4, but that one was an RBI, and you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not just speaking about him, but a lot of the guys that we're talking about, like, Mookie, Shohei, whatever. But that's the beauty of this lineup, right? Nobody needs to carry the burden all season. Get off to a slow start. There's so many other hands to help carry the load. We haven't even talked about Muncy. We haven't talked about Teo. But yeah, it does feel great. having a little defense in 2/3 of the outfield positions, at least. Teo, an offensive first player, has still looked great up there, had some good at bats. Same thing with Muncy. He's taking his walks, putting the bat on the ball hard. Some of those exit velos have been pretty tasty for months early on.
Well,
those glasses made it all the difference. Hey, and our captain, Will Smith, the greatest damn catcher in baseball today. I was going to say the F word. I caught myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But the greatest catcher in baseball, our Captain America, Will Smith, just with a 1 dot in OPS to start the season. Just, our catcher.
And hitting the go-ahead home run on his bobblehead night, which we'll get into a little bit later with Kourosh. But
embarrassment of riches.
To get back to Teo, though, because I actually think that this is like another example of what I'm trying to say. He actually hasn't been good. He's been great in spring. He had an amazing spring. He's hitting 143. He has not been driving the ball well to start the season. It's 4 games. We know this. Like, we're obviously overreacting to a very small sample size here. But, like, when you consider that the team has underperformed for the most part offensively, and they still look amazing, is just like Andy Pages hitting a go-ahead 3-run home run off of Zach Gallen on opening day. Him leading the team in offense right now. You're just like, dude, how can you beat the team if the lineup gets that long? If your number 8 hitter like Pages is going to be hitting 30 home runs potentially this year, like he could be a 30-homer threat in the 8th spot. That's just it's just incredible, and I'm expecting.
Jesse.
Yeah,
for most
and I'm
teams,
expecting great defense from him, as you mentioned. So, like, they're looking good,
dude. For most teams, talking about the 8th hitter, the 8-hole hitter like that is just hyperbole, but it's not, right? 27 homers last year for Pages, 30 is well within reach. We saw him, opening night, freaking send one into left field for a 3-run jack. Took the lead right back from the D-backs, who were feeling good. I think it was Padromo,
ending the
got a
season
2-run
too
shot.
as like one of the least favorite Dodgers. You know what I mean? He was getting, other than making that amazing catch in Game 7, he was benched for a reason. And to come back night 1 and to do what he did and to have a great start to the year, he's reminding everybody, like, this guy's really good. He's not like, he could be an all-star this year.
I called it in preseason. Pages will be an all-star. Mark it on your calendars. Alex Freeland is another guy that, hey, not sure if he should be on. Not saying that Pages, there was any conversation about him not being on the roster. But, hey, Freeland, just a guy like, hey, I don't know if he's earned it. In his first AB, sends one fucking big yard. It's just, you can't write the stuff, Jess. It's so damn poetic, but the young guys are making a stamp early in the season and saying, hey, it's not all these unks fucking carrying the load. Sure, you got Shohei. Sure, you got Freddie. But old Andy Pages can play some ball. And, hey, Alex Freeland's looking pretty good at second, too.
Yeah, and, even with Freeland, too, because there was much made about Hyeseong Kim not making the team. To me, this is just an example of the Dodgers process paying off. When people say, oh, the Dodgers are just buying championships, that they are, that they don't develop homegrown talent. Like this, I'm not, obviously, again, this is only 4 games, but this is the Dodgers process and what they do. Freeland's not going to be on the roster all year long. He's going to make some stops back down in AAA. He's going to come back up and down. Hyeseong Kim is down in they sent him down to AAA. He's hitting 500 through 4 games in AAA right now. He's like 7 for 14.
He had a 5-hit game the other night.
Yeah. If you're thinking, could Teoscar Hernandez potentially get benched at some point this year? Well, James Tibbs is hitting like 500. His numbers right now, I'm just going to read you this. He's the guy that we got for the Dustin May trade.
That's right.
Who, the Dodgers traded him to the Red Sox. The Red Sox sent over James Tibbs and Zach Earhart. James Tibbs threw 3 games, 8 for 13. That's 615 average. 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 6 extra base hits, and a 2.1 OPS. A 2100 OPS. And he was having an amazing spring, too. So, like, if you're worried about Teoscar Hernandez, the Dodgers have like 5 different contingency plans in place waiting in the wings in the minor leagues, whether it's Tibbs, whether it's Quintero, whether it's DePaula or Zaire Hope. There are so many options out there that are waiting in the wings, and even if it's not this year, it's coming when those contracts of Tucker and Teo are inevitably up. The Dodgers have these guys waiting in the wings, whether it's to be replacing in the outfield or just getting traded for other pieces. But the Dodgers keep doing this over and over and over again, and I don't want to hear that they don't develop players. They develop the best prospects that teams constantly want to trade with us to get. They constantly highball us in negotiations to get guys like James Tibbs, who was just a throwaway in the trade for Dustin May by the Red Sox.
Dude.
And now he's going to be one of the probably top 50 prospect in baseball after this year? Come on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fleeced. It's been insane. I don't think anybody expected Tibbs to emerge the way he did. Kim Hyeseong, we were all rooting to make the starting roster this year. He issued an apology to all of South Korea. Hey, these were his goals that he set out for the preseason, and one of those was to make the opening day roster. Talk about radical accountability. I mean, that's just the kind of guy I want in my clubhouse. Like you mentioned, he's got like a 500 average. He had a 5-hit game the other day. This means something to him, right? Like, not just him, but like a guy like Tibbs, right? That isn't a big name coming up through the minors, is a part of a footnote trade, Dustin May and a couple prospects back, whatever. Now, like you said, he's on the verge of being a top 50 prospect and breaking into the bigs on the Dodgers, right? It's like everybody wants to get a shot to play with the Beatles, and it's like this means something to these young guys, right? Get an opportunity to come win a championship with what a lot of people are considering the greatest lineup ever. That's a rare air for any team to get to be in, but to find yourself being a 20-something-year-old trying to bust out in the majors and you're fucking carrying a stick like that, it makes me fired up. And Jesse, to your point, it's about how the Dodgers coaching staff from single A all the way up to the big league club is all in unison here, trying to get the best out of these guys and trying to really help make the most out of every AB, every rep, every throw that these guys are doing, so that when they get that call, they're going to be effective, and guys like you and me are going to be glazing these towns.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we've been doing so far to start, is just glazing this team. Yeah, Kim, I think you can expect he's going to be called up at some point in this month. If he keeps performing like this, they're going to have to do it.
It's undeniable.
But it's just a good sign that, if it's not going to be Hyeseong Kim and they're going to have Alex Freeland step up in his stead, that Freeland's going to come up and perform and do his part to produce. And that's the Dodgers machine working. And Kim, as far as Kim apologizing for not making the team, there's something about like culturally here, because like Rowe, he's been very honest about not having a better season last year and then not making the team to start the year this year. And then Roki, the same thing. I know they're obviously from 2 different countries, but like something about their cultures where they're just incredibly honest when they speak to the media. Because Roki actually had a pretty decent start yesterday, and you and I were talking about our concerns about Roki and his spring training. The guy, I don't think anybody has more trouble throwing strikes in Major League Baseball than Roki Sasaki since the start of spring training. He's really struggled to throw strikes, and he had some issues yesterday against the Guardians. But when he did throw strikes, he had really good results. Right? He actually had a pretty good game. I don't think he looked amazing, but he had a good game. He got good results. It was a step in the right direction. It was a really good confidence booster for him. But after the game, when he was asked about it, he was talking about how going into the game that he basically didn't have confidence, that his confidence was kind of admitted that his confidence was shot. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if what was lost in translation with Kristen Watson and the translator, but he was pretty honest about it. And I don't know, it's just interesting to see baseball players who you're so used to keeping things pretty close to the vest to be that open and honest about it. And I think it, but in terms of Roki, I think it's a good thing that he's kind of embracing it because it shows that he's self-aware and that he's, his head's in the right place.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, right? There is something to be said for a little loss of nuance in translation, and things kind of become blunted. But I do think that Roki is the kind of guy that's lived through some tough stuff, and I think people are quick to jump on him and his mental fortitude, maybe because he's a skinnier guy, maybe because he looks young. I don't know what it is, but he's a professional nonetheless. And in the biggest moments, Roki has succeeded for the Dodgers. I mean, he's a World Series champion, and it wasn't an easy path to get there, So, I mean, shit. Look at Paul Skeen's opening day. He gave up 5 runs, didn't make it out of the first. I mean, hey, some bad
well, that's because O'Neal Cruz cannot play center field, but yeah. But he would have given up a couple runs anyway.
It's one game. Right. But my point is, like, hey, man, like, even Achilles went down, right? Like, even the greatest, most undeniable people get, clipped. And I think we've seen Roki not, take off the way he anticipated, clipped. It hurt his confidence, but we're watching a guy in real time battle and, just kind of we're seeing his resolve grow in real time. And there's no doubt in my mind that Roki is not going to succeed this year. I just, this first step was so, I don't know, just kind of calming for me. I really was nervous, dude, going into the start. I was like, is he going to get out of the first and whatever? But no, like you said, it wasn't great. It's not like he shoved through 7 scoreless. But, hey, 1 run through, I think it was 4 1/3, 4 Ks, a couple walks. But
well, he introduced a cutter, and so he's throwing the cutter more. And I think he threw it like 20 times or something like that. And it's not a terrible pitch. It's something that wrinkles the fastball a little bit that already doesn't have great shape. And because he throws the forkball, it's such an odd forkball because it has a bit of a knuckling effect to it that sometimes it doesn't go. Sometimes it doesn't break arm side the way. Sometimes it almost breaks like a curveball at times. Yeah. And so if you can pair that with the cutter, maybe you can start to have some pitches that look more similar like each other as he figures this out a little bit more, and you can start getting better results. And his velocity was up, and I don't know yet if he's going to be a successful starting pitcher, but I do know he is a major league pitcher. He's just going to need to figure out how to throw more strikes. But I think all things considered, he got off to about the best start you could have hoped for this season, considering what he looked like in spring training. So
absolutely,
I'm just happy with him that he was able to to battle through it and get through that outing. So
hey, and to your point, getting off to a good start, dude. Tanner Scott, right?
Yeah, who came in? Roki got gave up a base runner to start. Scott gave up a hit, and Scott pitched out of it. That was awesome. A great sequence.
Man on second and third.
Yeah,
love to see love to see Tanner Scott get some success, especially in front of this Dodger Stadium crowd. Ingratiate himself with the fans. Kind of remind everybody who he is, right? Did not perform up to expectation last year and really was a liability. Jess, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he was on the World Series roster at all.
He was not. I don't think he ever pitched. He never pitched in the playoffs, I don't think. If he
think he might have been in the wild card series. Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't make the NLCS or the World Series. I know that. But also he had an issue with his ass, if I remember correctly. Didn't he have some sort of thing on his ass?
Yeah, I don't know if it was like an ingrown hair or some infection, but he had a butt thing going on.
Yeah, he had something with his ass.
No offense, all due respect. Not ideal.
But no, he's off to a great start. He got a lot of swing and miss, which was nice to see, because he was struggling with that last year. And he looks good, and this is best case scenario for the Dodgers if he actually is a guy this year, because they're going to need him to
100%
to help carry some of the load for Edwin Diaz and Will Klein to that point. Will Klein looks like he could be a top 10 reliever in baseball right now. The guy is so disgusting, dude. He has the best stuff plus that ranked out in baseball, apparently, like with like spin and break and everything.
Yeah.
He has like some of the best stuff plus in baseball, and it's paying off, and it's looking like he's going to be a high leverage guy for the Dodgers this year. He looks great.
Yeah, he's already pitched a couple innings. He's only given up one hit. He's got a couple of Ks. Yeah, he is just. He's what I love to see, right? A guy that just attacks. Even speaking back to Tanner Scott, it looks like his edge is there a little bit more, right? Not really any fear, kind of throwing down the middle again and attacking. Tanner Scott to that point has 3 Ks. Will Klein with 2. Another guy from the right side, Alex Vesia, coming back out on the mound. Just with all that moxie, all that energy. Saw him make a play to first base and ran off. It was like hollering. It just seems like he's exactly where he needs to be, and maybe the best story in baseball right now.
Yeah.
But that Dodgers bullpen, man, is just absolutely caked up, dude. And I ain't talking about their booties. I'm just talking about those arms, dude. It is a smorgasbord of just filth coming at you, dude. I mean, like you said about Diaz, we've already mentioned Tanner, Will Klein, Vesia. I mean, dude, we haven't talked about Robleski or Trinan, but, dude, just those guys are
Trinan's throwing like 97. He looks decent so far. He only pitched once, I think, but he looks pretty decent. One note on Will Klein that is kind of making me think that he might be my favorite Dodger right now.
Ooh.
Dude's like replacing Tony Gonsolin as the cat man for the Dodgers.
That's fun.
He's a cat lover. He loves cats. Like, I see his Instagram account is like liking posts about cats all the time, bro. And I'm just like, this guy is my speed. He's just like a chill lefty cat lover, and I'm just like, this is my kind of guy. I love this dude. So he's officially replacing Tony Gonsolin as the Dodgers' new cat man.
Jesse, you know something crazy? Speaking of Tony Gonsolin, unsigned right now. Him and Michael Kopech, currently unsigned. Makes no sense.
They'll get signed.
Come on.
They'll get signed.
Somebody sign our guys.
They're guys that like have early season shoulder issues and stuff, so it might be that they're just like, they could be working through some stuff. Who knows? But I expect Kopech, guy that throws 99, who's pitched in big games, he should be signed for sure. Okay, one thing I did want to say. We got a chance to see Edwin Diaz's new walkout song. Or not his new walkout song, but we got to see it for the first time, the walkout to Narco, and it was performed live at Dodger Stadium by Tatiana Tate on the trumpet. And this was much to the chagrin of some Dodger fans and some baseball fans who felt like it was not quite as impactful, that it fell a little bit flat, both in the performance and in the notes itself of the performance. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool that the Dodgers brought on somebody to do it. It's not going to be like that all year, most likely. But a lot of fans felt like it was like it missed the mark. And before we continue, I was just curious what you thought overall of. Do you think that they should continue with Tatiana Tate, or do you feel like it's best that they just go to the audio recording of the song?
Dude, first of all these people that are hating have only ever heard that song on recording. So any variation from that is going to sound to their ears, it's going to sound just off, right? So there's a little bit of that at play. Also, hey, they were doing something live for the first time. It seemed a little late as he came out of the pen. And my assumption is because when you're playing in an area that vast and that big, right, echo is a real thing. So she has in-ears, and I'm sure she's probably waiting for either the song to kick in or a click, right? Maybe there's somebody back behind the camera who's supposed to give her a signal. But it seemed like that was either missed or just completely late, because the next night it wasn't so late and whatever. I heard some people having some comments that like, oh, maybe these notes seemed a little sharp or a little, whatever. Nah. It didn't really bug me that much. Yeah, maybe she cracked a note and it was a little sharp or maybe a little short. But to me, that all kind of comes with the atmosphere of a live performance. I don't think it was maybe a perfect 10 out of 10 performance, but in terms of atmosphere, in terms of vibe, like, Jesse, you've been out there. Dodger Stadium now is like a live mariachi band in between innings. Not all the time, but for a lot of games, at least they're in playoffs and stuff. It's a lot of fun. You see it at SoFi. It's live is the way to go. I'm all about it. Tatiana Tate, I got your back. I'm vibing, and I only expect it to get better. Jess, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a new addition to Dodger Stadium. They added these video boards, right? Where like in between like the loge seating and then, up top and stuff. Well, they weren't finished, dude. All the like LED boards, I guess, just weren't installed. So the housing's up. My point is that we're still missing some elements to the intro. I get it. In a perfect world, it should all be there, but it's a work in progress. It's got to get better.
Those boards, apparently there was like a shipping issue with like the company that was supposed to, the LED boards that go around the stadium. There's some sort of like shipping issue of some kind. And,
what, were they coming through the Strait of Hormuz?
Maybe.
Relevant.
It could be that. But no, something's going on, and they're basically like they're going to be putting them up as the season goes along. Kind of weird that this happened. Also, it's Uniqlo Field now, by the way. It's not Dodger Stadium. It's Uniqlo.
My fault.
Okay. Obviously, Edwin Diaz has this great walkout.
You froze, dude.
Whatever you may think about it, Mason Miller, the closer for the San Diego Padres.
Jess, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Jess, you completely froze. Can you hear me, dude?
I'm back. Are you back?
I'm back. What happened
there,
dude? Did somebody hack us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, dude. Was it because?
All right.
Is it because we said the Strait of Hormuz?
Might be. That's probably why we got hacked, bro. We got hacked. Iran is in our feed right now. So, obviously, Edwin Diaz has this epic walkout. Whatever you may think about the performance is one thing. But now, closer for the San Diego Padres, Mason Miller, introduced his own new walkout as well. And I want to play them both, and I want us to decide who we think has a better walkout. And I know that we're Dodger fans. We're going to be a little biased, but he walked out to some corn. And as a kid who grew up in the 90s, I got to tell you, like, it did strike a chord with me. But let's take a look. Here's Edwin Diaz walking out in his Dodger Stadium.
Looks so sick.
Yeah, it was a little off. Yeah, so it was definitely.
I'm sorry, it gets me going,
No,
dude.
okay.
It makes me feel like the Hardy Boys are coming out. That shit gets me fired up.
It was definitely a little bit off. Not perfect, but it's a great walkout. So here is Mason Miller walking out to Blind by the band Korn.
You know what time it is? It's time for Mason Miller.
The Padres, number 22, Mason Miller.
Why do they have to check his glove while he's doing it?
For metal.
look, I gotta say, hold on, I gotta get rid of this. Whoops. I gotta say, I love Edwin Diaz, but like Edwin Diaz, like it gets you hyped. It's epic. The song is epic. But like if I'm another team and like Mason Miller is coming out of the bullpen throwing like 104, the most unhittable reliever in baseball, like that, I'm a little scared by that entrance. Like Edwin Diaz hypes me up. Mason Miller's like scares me. So that's my only take on it. Is I think that there's like an argument. This adds to the rivalry, Branden. The rivalry that isn't there. Now we have the rivalry of the two closer entrances.
It may be the most heated rivalry in all of sports. That is, of course, the closer music debate. Jess.
Heated rivalry? Wow.
I mean, whoa, it's heated, dude. I saw a video of two ladies on a plane that saw their seatmate, like a row in front of them, a gentleman turning on heated rivalry. And as he got to the lovemaking scenes, he skipped forward through all of them, and they thought it was hilarious. I know you wouldn't do that, and I respect you for that. You're an ally.
No, I just walked away.
What? Sure, nothing, dude. Yeah. Lie to the ladies. Don't lie to me, Jess. But, Jess, if I'm being honest with you.
Shower.
Just put on a little corn and you're like, I'm blind. That was stupid. I'd take that back. Yeah, Jess, I grew up a 90s kid. I loved new metal. System of a Down was huge for me. I was a pretty decent Korn fan. But I'm sorry. I don't know. I think that it really fits San Diego. I think it probably fits that demographic, but I got to go with Narco. I'm sorry. I like the live horn. It gets me going. Even with the imperfection, it gets me going.
Like the Narco it doesn't. I love that we have Edwin Diaz, but that was made famous for Mets fans, and I'm like, it feels a little bit like we're co-opting this great thing. That was for Mets fans. Really, it's for Edwin Diaz, though. Like, he's the player. He's the guy showcasing his talents. This is for him. But it's like I could understand as like a Mets fan watching it and being like, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe he's walking out for the Dodgers with that song playing. That was our thing, And so I could understand that. It doesn't quite feel like our thing yet. Give it some time, and I'll have a different view on this. But I just thought that Mason Miller's was like, you said it's a very San Diego thing. That's their thing now. This is the new Hell's Bells for San Diego. When Trevor Hoffman used to walk out to Hell's Bells, this is their new version of that. So,
I completely agree. I do love that for San Diego, and you're making some great points, dude. It hits, and I think that's what you want out of a closer, right? It's just some heavy metal shit, some thrash shit. Man, I don't know. You're kind of making me move my goalpost, Jess. Stop, dude.
It's okay. Either way, it's just good that we have baseball back and that we're, this is it's epic. These are some epic ends to the games. All right, so Dodgers are in first place, and I don't foresee that changing anytime soon. But the Rockies, hey, they're leading the division. Oh no, Dodgers have one more run than the Rockies. Sorry.
We were about to go off on Rockies love.
We're going to bring on Kourosh Kaghazi for an interview.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll be on in a second.
Oh, my gosh. It is a first in the Deferred Collusion podcast story. We got a guest, none other than the Silver Screen Zone. I think that's television. Kourosh the Canadian, a.k.a. Corey Kaghazi, dude. You may recognize him as the co-star of the Will Smith bobblehead commercial. This guy was giving our favorite catcher a little bit of a hard time getting back through customs. Jess, have you seen this? This knucklehead?
I have. It was hilarious, and we're going to find out how much of an impact it had, because I believe the Dodgers actually go to Toronto pretty soon, and we're going to see if he has any issues at customs. But, if you haven't seen it, Corey played a Canadian Mountie at TSA, is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
So Yeah, so just really quick before we get into it, just what was that experience like shooting the commercial with Will, and just the whole experience of the reaction you've gotten from Dodger fans?
Yeah, man, it was awesome. First of all, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Honored first guest. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's just been me and him like just bullshitting for hours on the internet. So
I'm sorry
feels
for
a little
that,
bit more
Jesse.
professional.
That sucks.
Yeah.
No, but the whole thing, I mean, it happened pretty quickly. Got a text actually from my best friend, Tamara, and sorry, Branden, not you. And she was like, in a group text, she said, hey, can you do a Canadian accent? And then her husband chimed in and said, would you be willing to wear this? And sent me the Mountie costume. Her husband's Eric Vasquez, who's been with the Dodgers for over 15 years working on their video production team. So it was actually both of them kind of came up with the idea that, I'd be willing to do something like this, and I have no problems making a fool out of myself. If it makes somebody else look better, I'm a team player, so it doesn't matter.
Dude,
but
that's the Dodgers philosophy, dude. That's how we got Shohei.
Exactly. Yeah. So we didn't know that we would have the official okay until about, I think, 5 days before we actually shot the commercial. Whoa. I got a text from Eric saying, Will's on board. We're going to shoot it at Dodger Fest. And it showed up Saturday morning, had I think an initial noon start time to film, and it got pushed about an hour. So I'm just sitting 15, 20 feet outside the clubhouse, and I got to meet so many players. First guy coming through, Mookie, is walking down. He's with one of the staff members. I just was reading my lines thinking okay, he's not going to say hi or whatever. Goes out of his way, comes up, daps me up, daps up everybody else on the production team. So yeah, and honestly, not just him, but every other player that I met, Freddie, Max, all those guys, they all went out of their way to, shake my hand or whatever. And so super, super cool experience. But once we actually got started filming, it was kind of a blur, honestly.
Yeah.
I wasn't nervous going into it, but for whatever reason, as soon as we had about 10 extras come in to stand in line, at the airport, as soon as they showed up, I was like, uh-oh. I'm actually performing in front of people. I thought it was just going to be me and Will. But
dude, the bright lights of Dodger Stadium can get to anybody.
It was wild. Yeah. Eric's whole team was phenomenal throughout the entire process. I mean, got multiple takes of everything, shot, X amount of angles on everything, just made sure they had it all.
So
it was a really streamlined experience. Yeah.
Sorry, Branden. For people who don't know, are you how much acting experience do you what other acting have you done before?
So it's funny you bring that up, because in between takes, that shot where Will and I are sitting across from each other at that table where I'm kind of interrogating him, I asked Will, I was like, hey man, do you guys have to do a lot of these videos? He's like, oh yeah, we've got to do, these videos all the time. And he goes, what about you? How long have you been acting? And I go, dude, I'm Eric's realtor. I've never done this before. And he started busting out laughing. And when he rapped, it was just funny. When he rapped, he looks at Eric and he goes, what are you going to bring your lawyer to the next shoot? So it was funny. So never done that. Last acting I've done is in my 5th grade play.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sick.
Well, you did great, and being a realtor, you kind of have to be a salesman, and some of the actors are just salesmen at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
You did great.
Exactly. Yeah,
dude, you crushed it.
It was awesome. Thank you.
Dude, so when you're sitting there with them, how much of the script is it just all written out, all the jokes, or are you just kind of freestyling and hitting them with some just off the cuff Canadian
absolutely,
riffs?
Yeah. So because we were so time constrained, we had to stick to the script. But I got the script probably 2 or 3 days before we actually shot. And so I wanted to just make sure I was prepared. And I would read through the lines in the Canadian accent. And there were some words I just couldn't say, or some sentences that I just couldn't do. And so I kind of switched things around. I talked to Eric about it. I'm like, hey, man, I think it would sound better if I said, like, oh, hey there, bud, instead of like, hi, how are you doing or whatever. It just made more sense to me, and kind of rolled out the tongue a little bit better. Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of Canadian media were you consuming to make your accent?
Dude,
it was amazing.
Thank you, man. As you know, I grew up watching wrestling. Huge Bret Hart guy, Hart Sick. Foundation.
Oh wow!
Tons of Canadians in the WWF, and so a lot of that was just ripping off his promos, and then actually had probably watched 30 to 45 minutes of like hockey player interviews right before, just to get in the mood.
That's hilarious, bro.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
So,
Dude, any players in particular any hockey players in particular give you like some good accent, like
not that I can remember. It was literally just like a compilation of guys. So
was it just like an
play?
Yeah, just generic hockey. And then I had like ChatGPT. I was like, okay, I typed in one of the lines. I'm like, okay, God. I'm a Canadian hockey player. What would I say here instead? And then I would just get that cadence down and all that.
Yeah.
So
did you hear AI is great.
Did you hear from any Canadians or Blue Jays fans by any chance? Because obviously this is, this is mainly based around what happened in the World Series. So I'm just curious, did anybody reach out to you or comment that you noticed?
So the two things I was most afraid of was one, Freddie seeing me in the Mountie outfit. I didn't want to offend him. Okay, but he comes out of the locker room, he starts dying laughing at me. And he was cool about it. And then number two, I didn't want, obviously, any Blue Jays fans to, threaten me or anything or my family.
Right, of course.
Thankfully, if you read the comments on all the videos that have been posted, people ripping the commercial from us and all that, even the Canadians enjoy it. And they're having a good laugh. And, there's tons of comments that say, Jays fan here, I thought this is hilarious, funny concept, whatever the case may be. I think it's just so over the top outrageous that you can't help but laugh, Yeah.
That's just Canadians for you, though. They're like,
exactly.
I noticed that with the World Series. They were all really nice. I mean, some of them were kind of in our comments. I made a couple of videos about the World Series, and they were like really, when they went up 3-2, they were just letting you know about it. They were pretty harsh, but once the series was over, they were pretty nice. They were all pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, ton of respect. Toronto's a class city, classy fans. Blue Jays are a classy organization. But dude, the accent, I pegged it as Brett right away, dude. I was like, you and your brother Owen. It's like I was dying. I thought it was such a good accent. I was like, I hope nobody in the Hart Foundation recognizes and just cuts a shoot promo on you.
Yeah.
Have you been considered for any other material for the Dodgers going forward? Or is that it for now?
So obviously number one goal here was to secure a sellout for the game, and got a text from Eric Saturday night saying, I think we either sold out or very close to a sellout. So hopefully, and we didn't have really any negative comments that I saw. A couple people saying like that accent's terrible, but whatever, maybe like 5 comments out of like the thousands. But hopefully, Will goes back to Toronto, does something crazy in a week here, and we can shoot another video. That'd be great.
That'd be rad. Hey, I mean, you got to see your now coworker, in acting. You got to see him hit a on his bobblehead night, a game, leading home run, or to take the lead in the 8th. I figure you're the good luck charm, right? We got to get the Mountie out there, dude.
You're the ringer, for a big game for sure. Yeah,
I've got to be, man. I went to 3 games last week.
You were there for every game opening weekend?
I went to the Angels game on Monday.
Oh,
yeah, and then was there opening night, and then was there the ring ceremony night.
So rad.
I don't know of any sports team that could put on a better pregame production than the Dodgers did. Both opening night and the ring ceremony night was like watching WWE. I mean, you had Oral go up to throw out the first pitch, and then you had Kershaw come in, and It was insane. And the whole time I'm talking to my buddies, I'm like, it'd be terrible to be a Diamondbacks player and have to sit and watch this for 45 minutes, screwing up your pregame routine and all that kind of stuff. But,
dude, that flyby opening night was unreal, dude.
It was nuts. The whole.
I mean, how perfectly did that work out for? How perfectly did that work out for you, though? You put all this time into the bobblehead night and promoting it, and then the guy that you were working with hits the game-winning home run in the late inning. I mean, this worked out perfectly. Like, I'm just convinced I need you on board more. Yeah.
Any better. And it's funny because I was texting that same group saying, texting them right when the bottom of the eighth started. I said, I got a good feeling about this. And I'll send you guys a text so I'm not lying. And
dude, you got to send it. We got to put it up.
I will. Sure enough, Will goes up there.
Love that.
Hits that jack.
Man. I have a stupid question for you. How does Will Smith the actor stack up with Will Smith the actor? How was he as an actor?
From what I understand, typically very dry in these situations, in these videos. Yeah. This was the most emotion that he's shown, according to both fans and members of the production team. So
that's huge.
No, he was awesome. Yeah, he was.
Is that because you guys are both a couple of Kentucky guys? Or
dude, Tennessee guy? Come on.
That's what I meant, dude.
Nice.
That was sacrilegious, dude. Oh my god.
No, he was honestly great, and I messed up a few times, and he was like totally cool about everything, and it was just overall a fantastic experience.
Love that, awesome. Dude. Yeah. Hey, man, before we let you go, we were talking a little earlier. I don't know if you saw this, but there's a little bit of a a closer's music debate on who is the hottest entrance music for a closer in baseball right now, whether it's Edwin Diaz coming out to Narco. I know you saw it with the live trumpet.
Saw it on Friday, the debut.
Or if Mason Miller down in San Diego coming out to Corn's Blind, the Are You Ready? I got to ask you, dude, if you were allowed to pick your boy Will Smith's new fucking walkout music, what song are you picking for Will Smith?
Oh, man.
Just put him on the spot there with that one.
Yeah. Wow. Super on the spot.
What song gets me pumped every single time is My Way, dude, by Limp Bizkit.
Dude.
That's pretty good.
Guaranteed every single time. This is not prepared, by the way. You guys just really put me on the
great.
spot.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking
that
song gets me pumped up.
Dude, that would be a
hit. That Corn theme, yeah. I think that
new metal has never died, dude. I'm with it.
No, that 90s new metal, it's amazing how well it's worked out for sports hype-up videos. It's like, it may not be good music anymore, but it's great for sports hype-up videos. It's awesome.
Oh, 100%.
Fred Durst is our Beethoven,
Yeah.
Dude, I've always said that in private. I can't believe you stole that from me. That's crazy. No.
I can't believe you said it publicly. Yeah. Corey, thanks so much, man. Great job. Appreciate your time, and come back anytime. And next time that you're doing another one of these, of course, you should hop back on and talk about it.
Absolutely, love to. Absolutely.
You're the man, Kourosh. Hey, thank you, and thank you for empowering Will Smith to get us that dub the other night, dude.
Absolutely.
You're the man.
Yeah.
Take full credit. Have to.
Hey, you should, dude. Hell yeah, Kourosh, you're the man, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Take care.
There you have it, our first guest in Deferred Collusion history. Thank you to the Canadian himself, Kourosh Kaghazi, America's favorite realtor. That was awesome, dude. That was a blast, dude.
So funny to hear about just Will Smith telling him, what, are you going to bring your lawyer next time? That was fucking hilarious. Well, maybe we'll have him back if he continues doing work with the Dodgers. Thanks again. We're going to wrap it up pretty soon. The last topic that we have for today, I mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, Branden, but I thought ABS so far, the implementation of the new automated balls and strikes, I think it's been a pretty smashing success, if I'm being honest. I think that there are obviously some things to work out within the rules and how it gets implemented, but I think it's been awesome. it has not been awesome for the experience in front of fans for some of the umpires, but overall I think it's worked out well, and I think that we're getting with the implementation of like the slide rules, with the speed of the game, and now ABS. It's been quick, it's been effective. I think that the game is just becoming a better product, and I loved it. I thought it worked out really well.
Yeah, it was a little funky in real time. There was I think Corbin Carroll in like the first or second AB of the game.
Yeah.
And it happened so fast. I, in the crowd, didn't recognize it until I was like, wait a minute. Like, wasn't there another strike? Oh, it was an ABS. Well, so in that
that's
regard,
why the
to your point,
umpires are
Jez,
supposed to talk to the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get a quick talk. It was after a few minutes. Oh, okay, we know what's going on. But my point is that I'm like, there's still little growing pains. However, I think undoubtedly, dude, this is like another rousing success. I know Uncle Manfred gets a lot of hate, but some of these changes that he's implemented have really been good for the game, and I expect ABS to be another one of those. Not everybody's feeling so enthused about it, though. There is an old guard, specifically, some umpires that are not digging it. CB Bucknor got into it with the Red Sox this weekend, huh? Jess, I don't know if you saw this
in Cincinnati. Real bad day.
He had a real bad day. There was a stat. I wish I had it, but it was basically for umpires that are over the age of, I think it was 60. ABS challenges that went against them were successful about 2/3 of the time, whereas for umpires that were under, I think, like 40 or whatever, 35 in that range, they had only gotten about 1/3 of calls against them. Sorry, go ahead.
And that's to be expected. We're not being ageist here. We're a couple of unks. This is an unk pod after all, but he is getting up there, and it's not like CB Bucknor was ever known as like some great umpire. I've seen a lot of comments basically saying he's taken the mantle from Angel Hernandez now that Hernandez is retired. But no, it's worse than that, because he had there was 5 challenges, all of them were overturned to his call, so he got all 5 of the challenges wrong. They all happened like after the 6th inning, I believe. Like it happened late in the game. John Boy did a breakdown of it. There were 80 pitches where there was not a swing, meaning CB Bucknor had to make a call on 80 pitches in that game, and he got and 20 of them were not the correct call. If you judge by the strike zone frame on TV, 20 of them were incorrect, which means he's getting the call wrong 1 out of every 4 pitches that he called. 1 out of every 4 calls. That is a 25% failure rate. That's awful, dude. That's really, really bad. And this is why ABS exists, is to prevent against stuff like this. So for people who think like, oh, ABS is removing the human element, clearly not. Like catchers and hitters are not challenging every single time they think something's out of the strike zone. They're really only focusing on egregious mistakes and like situational challenges. Like they're being strategic in how they implement it. They're waiting till later in the game, until balls and strikes start to matter more, until you see how the game is played out, and then these moments mean a lot more when you make these challenges. And with CB Bucknor in particular, so we got 20 out of 80 wrong, 5 were overturned, and it all happened. It came to a head with this Eugenio Suarez at bat in the 6th inning in Cincinnati, where he was called out on strikes twice, but Suarez tapped his head both times, and both times it was overturned. But you could see that CB Bucknor was getting frustrated about Suarez challenging the call, and that Bucknor couldn't do any. He couldn't fight back, and that's what it seemed like he was getting really frustrated about. Was that like Suarez was within the rules. He couldn't toss Suarez for challenging the balls and strikes. And that's what it seems like was really frustrating him, because in an at-bat in that same game with Trevor Story, Trevor Story had a check swing earlier in the game where he did not give Story the benefit of asking the first base umpire whether or not he swung. Later on in the game, he checked his swing. Story checked his swing again, and Bucknor called him out again. So that was twice where he didn't allow it. And I could be wrong, but it felt almost like, well, if I can't have an impact on the balls and strikes, I'm going to have an impact here. At least that's how it came off. It's not, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but that's how it came off. It came off like a frustration call on his part. Like, no, I'm making the call. I'm not asking somebody. I'm making the call. And you can tell for a guy like CB Bucknor, this means something to him. He wants to have an impact on the game, and he was getting real frustrated about it.
Yeah, there was a little bit of like the Stanford prison experiment kind of showing itself. Jess, I'm sure you're familiar with that. But basically the concept is that if you give people power, even very limited amount of power over another person, they'll abuse it. And this is maybe not abuse, right? But it's a frustration at accountability. We had already talked earlier in the episode about guys like Kim Hyeseong who are holding themselves to radical accountability. And in moments like this, I'm guessing it's a little bit humiliating to be shown that you're wrong in front of 30, 40,000 people at any given time. But
it was electric when the calls got overturned. The crowd went crazy both times, and it was like his job is being like on full display. At like his embarrassment is at the expense of like all of these fans having fun. That's got to be hard on an old head like him, a guy that's been around a long time.
Absolutely, and it's no disrespect to CB or even the old guard of umpiring, right? Like the game is evolving and it's changing, and we're seeing it in a lot of these challenges by catchers, right? They are using Edgertronic cameras, and they are used to these super tight margins because pitchers are trying to throw in this little invisible box and are getting better and better all the time. So there is this feel for the strike zone. As amorphous as it may seem, ABS is showing that, hey, it's pretty tight. You've seen some of these challenges be within, millimeters of of a ball or a strike, and some of them have been like, maybe that should actually stay a ball. I saw one that was called a strike that maybe the seam broke the frickin' ABS barrier and it was called a strike. So look, there's still some calibrating, but undoubtedly we're on the right track. But Jess, I think there's an actual like unfortunate casualty to ABS. And I don't know that you're ready for it, but I think we're going to see the end of a like a banner moment in baseball. And I think that ABS is going to be the death of the perfect game. I think that we will not, in the ABS era, see any perfect games. I think that a perfect game needs those calls on the margins to go in the pitcher's favor. And now with ABS, it just adds an extra wrinkle to an almost near impossible athletic feat. I'm not saying that it's impossible, Jess. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised that if we went 20 years, maybe 20 years plus without a perfect game being tossed, I just wouldn't be surprised until there is maybe a rule change or they move the mound or something like that. But I think the last perfect game we saw was in 2023, and before that was 2012 with King Felix. So it's obviously a hyper rare achievement. But what we're seeing with the elimination of the call on the margins, I think we have seen the end of the perfect game.
Wow. I mean, there's only been 24 in Major League history. And you're right in the sense that, like, perfect games rely on, like, bad calls. I mean, like, everybody, like, in terms of perfect games getting blown, like, I could argue that, like, replay would have saved Armando Galarraga's perfect game with the Tigers, right? But you're right. When it comes to balls and strikes, every perfect game has, or no-hitter has, like, some benefit to the pitcher. And what is it that people have said? who does ABS benefit the most? Does it benefit the pitchers or does it benefit the hitters? Most people agree that it benefits the hitters because they're able to, some umpires, they like to have quick games, they like to have big strike zones, and they like to let, or tight strike zones for that matter, they have a certain zone that they implement. That's all out the window so long as calls are being challenged, right? So long as players and catchers and hitters are aggressive and calling against it, it's going to be harder and harder to get your way as a hitter, as a pitcher in those situations where like the hitter, has every reason to challenge something. I think you're right. I don't know if we're never going to see it again, but it absolutely will be harder to do from now on. No question about it. Although people like Trevor Bauer have said that they think that ABS will allow pitchers to steal more strikes because of pitches that like clip the bottom of the zone, like curveballs that drop down to the ankles, but like they clip the bottom of the zone. I don't know. I think that we don't have enough data yet. So let's wait and see how much data we get and how much it affects hitters versus how much it affects pitchers. And then, I could start to see things your way on that. I mean, I do think that like if CB Bucknor is going to get upset about this, we're going to start – he's in for a real wake-up call reality check because already right now in the minors they have technology to monitor check swings. So like they're challenging check swings in the minors with new technology that shows did you pass this line, based on the hitter's batting stance, where they're standing in the box. This tech is able to determine where the check swing line is, right? And then in the KBO, umpires have an earpiece where they're just calling balls and strikes based on what they're telling them in their earpiece. So you might, if that proves successful and the MLB decides they want to go with it one day, you might just have human beings like relaying information from a control center in their earpiece. And, CB Bucknors of the world might be forced to either get with the times or retire, because
you're right.
It seems like it's really upsetting. Like his job flow is interrupted right now. You can tell it's bugging him. And this won't be the first time. I saw Trevor Plouffe saying we might see some umpires just saying, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's possible.
And
might
I
be
get
an overreaction, but it is possible.
I get that. And hey, it might be a little bit of just, hey, I want to go out on my shield. Like, hey, this isn't my game anymore. Look, the numbers are showing I'm aging out. And just like, Clayton Kershaw, I'm going to ride off into the sunset. I'm speaking hyperbolically. I'm speaking hyperbolically for CB Bucknor.
No.
But anyways, pervervally.
I get you.
I can't say it, but you get it.
Just stop.
Anyways, I just stop. No, but my whole point is that, how many counts that don't really make any real difference to a perfect game or a no-hitter that are, 0-1 instead of a 1-0 count or, whatever. Those are the little things on the fringes that I'm talking about. And I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. Like you said, not enough data. But I firmly believe that we have seen the death of the perfect game in this iteration of baseball with this iteration of ABS.
Where I could see that situation happening is like a lot of times in perfect games when a guy has like a pitcher's pitching great and then he has a 3-0 count. It's like he's lost the strike zone for a second. Then they throw a fastball that's like a couple inches off the corner. Umpires will oftentimes in perfect games give them that call. You know what's going to happen? There's going to be controversy about that hitter challenging the call in the middle of like the 7th or 8th inning of a perfect game, being like, no, we're down 12-0. You're throwing a perfect game. Fuck that. That was a ball. You're not getting a perfect game, bitch. I guarantee you that's going to happen at some point. And it's going to be controversial as fuck. I promise you it's going to happen.
I love it.
That's where umpires make those calls. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's going to start a whole new rivalry, robot umps versus human umps. And also, for the record, we were so very almost called robot umps. Who knows? Maybe in the future, dude. If we
that was going to be our name. It's true.
Yeah. But my point, like, the whole reason why I said this, because you mentioned the KBO thing, and it is like they are robot umps, right? Like, I'm the human just relaying what the robot is saying. But it does seem like it makes for less arguing from managers, right? Because who you argue with? It's zeros and ones, baby.
Dude, it's bad enough for a millennial like me watching AI take all of our jobs. Imagine being in your 60s and computers come and take your job as a guy that, like CB Bucknor, he's been working on grass his entire life, and now computers are coming for him. Oh, this has to piss him off real bad. All right,
dude,
Branden,
we are
this was a
one
great
step
episode.
closer. We're one step closer to Blurns Ball. Full speed, dude. I know you didn't watch Futurama, you nerd.
Full stop. Oh, man, this was a great episode. Thanks so much again to Kourosh Kaghazi for stepping in with us. And thanks, as always, to all of you for all of your support. This has been Deferred Collusion. It's me, Jesse Rowe, King of Crespi, joined as always by Branden Bullinger, Lord Paramount of Los Angeles, California. Branden, the baseball season is in full swing, and robots are coming for all of us. But I'm happy to be here with you through a computer, talking about a kid's game. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but either way, God bless you, my friend. I love you.
Love you, Jess. It is always just an embarrassment of riches to get to talk baseball with you. And if you've made it this long with us, thank you so much. Hit that like, share, subscribe, whatever you want. Check out Kourosh. But we'll catch you on the next one. Let us know what you're excited. Baseball's back. Celebrate.
Yeah, if you need to buy a house, hit up Kourosh.
If you got that bread.
Don't ask for his lawyer, though. All right, buddy. I'll see you later.
Love you, Jess. Give the best to the missus and the pets.
Will do. To my
We love
fellow
you.
cat dads out there, my Will Klein truthers, see you next time.